No middleman. How to sell beef direct to consumers and why it's an important thing to do.
Good morning. It's April 28th, 7 o'clock in the morning. We got Yerzy, our last locker beef loaded. Now we're rolling to the processor. I want to be the first one there. 8 o'clock's when they open. If you'd like to learn more about selling beef direct from your farm, ranch, or homestead, this video is for you.
We're going to go over the how-to, but we're also going to talk about the why-do.
And I made it to the processor, 8 o'clock on the money. Looks like somebody beat me here though. I'm gonna go in, deliver my paperwork, my 4 cut sheets, and my brand inspection. And that's it for today. Steers delivered along with my paperwork. We didn't have any trailer drama. Now I can call tomorrow and get the hanging weights. Then I'll be ready to send invoices out to my customers.
This video is going to be broken into 7 discussion points. Number 1, paperwork and legals. Number 2, how to find your customers. Number 3, where's the beef? You're going to have some critters to raise. Number 4, facilities and feed. Number 5, set a slaughter date. Number 6, pick up the beef, payday. And number 7, why sell beef direct anyway? Good morning. It's time to make up invoices for the beef. This one gets quartered. Got my 4 cut sheets. I called the processor. The hanging weight was 718 pounds. I've also got envelopes to mail these out and return envelopes stamped with the ranch address on them. Invoices are out, and that's our segue into discussion point number 1, paperwork and legals. Cut sheets, brand inspection, the sale method you want to use, licenses, record keeping, and product labeling.
The first piece of paper you're going to need is a cut sheet. The cut sheet is a form provided by the processor that the customers fill out to let them know how they want their beef cut. I like to have 3 hard copies of the cut sheet. One goes to the processor on delivery day. I keep 1 copy on the ranch for our records, and 1 is sent to the customer with their invoice when the beef is ready. My local processor is pretty modern. They will do your cut sheet online. It's not for me. I'm old-fashioned. I like to have the hard copy in my hand, and I like everyone to have a cut sheet: processor, customer, and myself. The next piece of paper you may or may not need is a brand inspection from your state brand board. Some states require brands, some do not. The Western and Great Plains states are going to have strict brand laws. I'm going to flash a graphic, the next frame of this video, showing the states that do not require brand inspections. I live in Colorado, and my meat processor is going to require a brand inspection signed and stamped by a state brand inspector. If you don't own a brand, still call your brand inspector. He'll determine ownership through a bill of sale or maybe another way, like home-raised animal. So once you have these 2 forms, your cut sheet or maybe multiple cut sheets and your brand inspection, deliver that with the animal to the processor on slaughter day. The next thing to think about as far as paperwork and legals go is your sales method. So far we've been discussing a custom exempt processing. That's the most common. That's where a farmer, rancher, or maybe a homesteader will sell the animal to a customer. The most common way to do this is to sell the animal by the hanging weight. Sell a quarter, half, or a whole beef. Selling quarters, halves, or wholes by the hanging weight is the simplest and most common way that farmers and ranchers sell beef direct. And this is how I sell beef. Quick, simple, down and dirty. 3 pieces of paper required: your cut sheet, your brand inspection, and then an invoice. When selling your animal to a customer as a quarter, half, or whole beef by the hanging weight, that animal must be processed at a custom exempt facility or a USDA inspected facility. At a custom exempt facility, all the packages of meat will be packed and labeled not for sale. Only the owner of that beef can consume that beef or give it away. On the other hand, beef packaged at a USDA inspected plant can be sold by the retail cut, and that might be the way you want to sell beef. Beef processed and packed at a USDA facility is going to have each package weighed, labeled for what cut it is, and it's going to have the USDA stamp of approval on it. Selling beef this way, retail, is a lot more complicated, but you can make a lot more money. Think retail beef prices, supermarket prices, instead of hanging weight prices, quarter, halves, or wholes. Selling beef piece by the piece like this is going to take a lot more time, and you're going to have to store it in your own freezer. I think where this sales method could work really well for people farmers, ranchers, or homesteaders is if you have a farm market already, or you're part of a farm market, or you have a CSA program. Some of the additional paperwork and legals that you might need for selling beef retail: you might need a retail food license. That's up to your state, and you'll have to look that up yourself. Proper meat storage, that might be inspected by your state as well. They'll inspect your freezers. Labeling, that'll come from the processor. That's that USDA stamp of approval. And you might need a sales tax license. Product labeling, the labeling that should be on those cuts of beef, you should have a safe handling instruction, the net weight of that product, a USDA stamp of approval, and the name of that cut. And that's pretty much it for paperwork and legals. The last thing I'm going to recommend is good record keeping. Keep records of all sales, invoices, and the cut sheets for your records and for tax purposes. Also, it's a good idea to keep a customer list. Call them back next year, see if they want more beef.
Now that we have all our papers, everything's legal, square and fair, let's find some customers. The best place to find customers is in your local community. Several other options would include online, farmers markets, and beef CSAs.
Hey, is there any customers out here? Anybody want some good ranch raised beef? Hello? 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 If you're just starting out selling freezer beef, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge finding customers. But think about it from the customer's perspective. That's a huge investment. Buying a quarter beef, that's $800. And a whole, that's going to be over $3,000. Because the investment is so large for the customer, I think the easiest way to start is to sell to people you know, people in your community, friends, neighbors, people you do work with. My customers are my good friends, people I went to school with since grade school, truckers that deliver cattle for us, electricians and plumbers that do work on the ranch, people like that. They already know you and they'll trust you. Also, I love the idea of building my own local supply chain. As kind of a prepper, I think that's a way to go. Local supply chains are strong, resilient, and they don't break. And if things go bad, something goes sideways, that supply chain will still be there. We're supporting our local locker plant, that's part of it. Just goodness all around. There's also online classifieds like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. We did get a customer from Craigslist, but mainly it was people we knew. You might also think about putting flyers in certain places, the post office. If you have a local mill, that's a great place. People love to hang out at the mill. Maybe the local livestock auction, they always got a bulletin board. Then there's social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You might also try online directories like Eat Wild, Colorado Proud, and Local Harvest. And if you decide to go retail, sell your beef retail style, you might try farmers markets, local farmers markets, become a member, maybe make your own farmers market, or try a beef CSA off your ranch or farm. CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and this is where a rancher sells shares of beef off his ranch. It's a subscription service where people who want to buy local food pay up front, and then the beef would be delivered quarterly, maybe on a different schedule. So what would be in a CSA beef box? A variety of cuts, ground beef of course, and then steaks and maybe roasts. Each quarter you could change it up for your customers. Maybe T-bones one quarter, ribeyes the next. Have some fun with it. There's a lot of options for finding customers for your beef. Online grows every day, as well as people's interest in local food. You can't beat word of mouth and selling to local people, people you know. Build that local supply chain.
Now that we have some customers, we're going to have to come up with the beef. If you are already a rancher or farmer in the cattle business, especially a cow-calf operation like we are, you can raise one of your own calves. You can also get a steer heifer at your local livestock auction. There's also private sales and online marketplaces.
Where's the beef, Herb? You are going to need some critters to raise if you're going to sell beef. If you're already in the cattle business, if you have a cow-calf ranch like my family, you can keep some of your steer calves to raise them as locker beef, feeder steers. That's how we do it. At weaning time in the fall, we'll keep back 4, 5 steers to raise for locker beef. And our method for choosing steers to hold back to raise as freezer beef, this might not be what you want to do, but we keep our goofballs. And our definition of a goofball is just an off-colored hide on a steer. That might be red, red and white, black with white belly, maybe he has horns. Just something that doesn't go along, doesn't fit in with our big load lots of black-hided calves we sell at auction in the fall. At auction time, they might cut these steers off and sell them separate, and sometimes they'll dock you for something silly like an off-colored hide. So why not cut a few of these oddballs off and get value added as freezer beef? Probably your best option for getting some steers or heifers to raise, if you're not already a farmer or rancher raising beef, would be your local livestock auction. At the livestock auction, you'll be able to choose from different cattle, steers and heifers of different weights. One of the best times to get some steers or heifers would be in the fall. That's when most ranchers sell their calves. You'll want to get calves that are advertised vaccinated and probably weaned. This will make life a lot easier. Look for vaccinations like 8-way and Virus Shield. That's the standard. But if you don't want calves, if you don't want to feed them for so long, you should be able to find yearlings, 800 to 1,000 pound animals. Another great way to get some animals is a private sale, private ranch or farm sale. If you live in an agricultural area, just ask around. Ask your friends and neighbors. Other good resources to point you in the direction of a private ranch or farm sale would be things like Craigslist, maybe your county extension office, and your cattlemen's associations. Your private sale is pretty simple. You just go to the ranch or farm, look at the animals, decide if you want to buy them, and take them home. And finally, the last way to get some animals that I'm going to mention is online marketplaces. Craigslist would go back in this category. Also Facebook Marketplace, livestockmarket.com, Cattle Exchange, and Ranch World Ads.
We've got our critters to raise. Now let's talk about facilities and feed. Bunks and feeders, a water supply, a livestock trailer, chutes and head catches, pasture and hay, and our finishing grain ration. Don't let this section of the video scare you off from raising locker beef of your own. You don't need most of this stuff. This is a cow-calf ranch, and our facilities are used for preg checking cows, calving heifers, trick testing bulls, and the like. Your facilities could be very simple: panels to make a pen, a small feed tub, and a good water supply. Hay can be fed on the ground, but bunks are nice to feed grain. Got water? You'll need it in the corral and your pen, and out in the pasture. You'll need a trailer to get your critters to the processor, but you don't have to own one. Maybe you can trade some beef for a trailer ride. Chutes and head catches are nice to have, and they are needed for branding, tagging, and doctoring large cattle. But for feeding steers that you bought at a livestock auction, this might be equipment that you don't need. Most likely, your locker beef will spend most of their time out on the pasture. My method is to only finish feed them for about 70 days. You'll need hay also, especially if your locker beef project takes place in the wintertime. If you're finishing your beef on grain, you'll need a good dry place to store it. I use this old scale for weighing out finishing rations. We've got that finishing shine on our locker beef. Now we need to set a slaughter date way out in the future. Remember to deliver our papers with the beef. Get our beef number while we're down there. Then the next day, we need to get a hanging weight.
Now that everything's in order, you're raising your beef, don't forget to set a date. That's very important.
I remember it like yesterday. Winter 2019. Raising a beef just for our family, not to sell. I had 2 months before I wanted the steer processed. I called the processor to set a date. They said, sorry, things have gotten weird. We're scheduled a year out. You are out of luck. The pandemic had disrupted supply chains, and that included the meatpacking industry in the U.S. Turns out, having only 4 mega meatpackers is not such a good idea. It's efficient, but fragile. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Meat shelves in the stores emptied, people didn't know how long it would last, and local locker plants were overwhelmed with demand. Our locker beef turned into a farm butcher. Good thing it was wintertime. It turned out to be a really good preppy experience. We learned how to do it because we had to, and now we can do it again. It's good to prep. You never know when the next black swan is going to land.
Set your slaughter date way out, months in advance, and go down to your processor. Talk to them. Make sure you have all your paperwork and information that you need. While you're at your processor for the visit, walk around, check their facilities, see where you're going to have to back your trailer into. Make sure to ask them what time they open so you can be the first customer there.
Remember your beef number. The next day, get your hanging weight.
One thing your processor might ask you is the animal's age. 14 to 24 months is the standard and ideal age for a freezer beef. However, if your animal's older than 30 months old, they might need to know this because they're going to have to process the animal differently. Spinal tissue must be removed from these carcasses. This is because of BSE, bovine spongiform encephalitis. Remember mad cow disease?
After about a 2-week wait, it's time to pick up the beef. Customer pickup, delivery, don't forget about freezer space and backup power.
Oh, hell yeah, it's the big day. Time to pick up the beef, Herb. So make sure you have the pickup day planned out. Are you going to pick up the beef and deliver it? Or are you going to have customers pick up their beef at the processor? Having your customers pick their own beef up at the processor is by far the easiest, and that's what I do. I like to tell my processor to please call me first when the beef's ready. Then I can go down, pay the processing, and the customers just pick their beef up, easy peasy. If your customers are buying the animal from you and paying their own processing, the same process can apply. Just have your customers go to the processor, pay their own processing, and then pick up their beef. If you want, you can deliver the beef to your customers. I would recommend against that. There's just way too many things that can go wrong. Flat tire or vehicle breakdown could be a bad deal when you're transporting beef. That stuff's got to stay frozen. I guess that's all I'm going to say about delivering the beef. I would recommend against it. Not worth it. Let's talk about freezers. That goes with pickup day. Make sure your freezer is cleaned out, working, and ready to go. And make sure you got enough freezer space. Also, talk to your customers. Make sure that they know what they're getting into. It's also a very good idea to have some backup power. All that beef in the freezer is a lot like a bank account. It's a lot of food. It's also a lot of money. A whole beef in your freezer by hanging weight is $3,000 to $4,000. If you're talking retail cuts, that might be $5,000 or $6,000. So make sure you got a good working freezer, make sure you got backup power, and make sure to check that freezer every day. Check your freezer, check your freezer, check your freezer every day. Check your freezer, check your freezer, check your freezer every day.
Why sell beef direct? Know your food, give and receive community support, become part of a local supply chain, have fun, and preppies.
So why raise beef and sell it locally anyway? What's the point? Can't we all buy this at the supermarket? Sure can.
As long as they're in business and the supply chains are running.
But I really like growing my own food. I like raising my own beef too, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. For me, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy sharing that good beef with friends, neighbors, and people in my local community. Selling freezer beef also allows me the opportunity to fill my freezer absolutely free. I don't make a whole lot of money selling freezer beef. On our ranch, our main paycheck is selling calves in the fall. I'm a bit of a preppy, and I think building a local supply chain is a really good, important prep. A preppy, not that kind of preppy, not polo shirts and khakis. Think more Carhartt, Levi, windmills, chickens, gardens, and maybe a gas mask. I've learned so much raising freezer beef. Even when I missed my processing date, well, didn't miss it, but it got delayed because of the pandemic, we learned how to process the beef ourselves. Now that's preppy. Another black swan, things go sideways. We have the tools, supplies, and now we know how to harvest our own beef. We'll be grilling beef in the apocalypse, living high. This video is going to wrap up my locker beef playlist. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Go to my YouTube homepage and go to playlists. Locker beef. That's going to do it. Thanks for hanging out and talking beef. See you next time at the Windmill Garden.